So we'll go ahead and get this rolling. Greetings from the Schuco USA headquarters in Connecticut. My name is Mike Marshall, and I'm the product manager here at Schuco USA. Let me introduce you to my colleague, Louis King, who's a building envelope specialist and a passive consultant here. So he will discuss how Schuco USA helps contribute to passive house projects.
All right, thank you, Mike. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Luis. Today I will be presenting to you our Passive House product showcase, basically for Schuco. Before anything else, I should give you a brief overview of who we are as a company. So Schuco is a aluminum company based in Germany. We specialize in thermally broken facade elements such as curtain walls, windows, and doors. So in Germany and most of Europe, Schuco primarily acts as a wholesale supplier of aluminum. We have certified partners over there who fabricate and assemble our windows and products for us. Here in the US, however, we tweaked this business model quite a bit. We fabricate all our products ourselves right here in a factory based in Connecticut. Now I'd like to share with you a short video talking about this business model of ours a little bit further.
The research and development for Schuco through its technology center and in-house testing center in Germany is second to none in our industry. We do know that there are differences in the US market compared to the European market. We've taken our experience and we've custom tailored a lot of the products so they fit this market and they can meet the standards and requirements of the US market.
The only logical way forward for us to bring our product effectively into this market is by taking responsibility for its fabrication and engineering in America. Schuco, after all, knows how to fabricate its products to its own quality standards, make them compliant with the US standards, and price them competitively.
All Schuco products are designed and engineered to achieve multiple levels of performance, not just thermal performance. There's acoustic performance, there's weather performance, and some of those things are inherent to other principles.
Schuco has been creating and inventing architectural aluminum glazing systems since the 1970s. For us here in the workshop in Newington, it was sort of a no-brainer to set up with the Schuco equipment so that we can easily translate our designs from the Schuco software to the finished product. The product we distribute is built under the optimal conditions and to the optimal quality.
Now, before we present to you our product line, we should first talk about what makes a detail a passive house detail. So we prepared this quick animation of a detail we worked on in a past passive house project. Now, let me pause the video right here. So what we have here is a comparison between a passive house detail on the right side and a typical non-passive house window detail on the left side. So on the passive house detail on the right side, I'd like you to notice how the insulated areas on the wall sections and the head of the sill are almost perfectly in line with the thermal break of the window frame and the triple pane IGU. Now this basically creates a uninterrupted and continuous thermal break between the interior and exterior of the building, which is one of the key targets in passive house design. Now, if you, let me admit these people first. So now as you take a look at the non-passive house detail on the left, you would notice that the insulation at the top is not perfectly in line with the thermal break of the window. This creates this unprotected gap in this corner right here. So basically, if you would run this section through a thermal analysis program such as Therm or Flixo, you would probably see a lot of heat loss coming through this corner right here. So this is basically just a glimpse of what a passive house designer has to consider when detailing a window section. Now we could move on to our product overview. So the first product I'd like to present to you all is our FWS60 SI stick curtain wall system. Now, This system is basically used for storefront applications and basically for large openings in buildings. One thing to take into consideration with this product is we basically need space on site to install this from the outside. So the stick curtain wall system is basically the parts are all fabricated in the shop, and then these parts are delivered and installed on site. This is also a Passive House certified component. And the one thing I would like to highlight on this cross section right here is the highly insulated isobar right here in the middle. Now, together with the triple pane IGUs on its sides, this creates this uninterrupted and continuous thermal break that we were just talking about a while ago. Next up is we have our AWS 75 SI terrace door. So as the name suggests, this typically is used on terrace door applications. Now the story behind the system is that we basically took our outward opening window and we replaced the sill to a door sill basically. So we wanted to have a window that functions as a door and also has a ADA compliant threshold. Now, the benefit of having this be based off a window is that this system basically retains all the advantages that a window has versus a door in terms of performance. So an example of this would be something when it comes to water tightness. So yeah, just to place things into context, like a typical Schuco window would have a water tightness level of around 15 psf, and compared to a typical Schuco door, which could usually only resist up to around 3.9 psf of water pressure. So yeah, with this system, we're able to have a door, but basically perform like a window. Now, another thing to bring up with the terrace door is that this isn't a Passive House certified product, although it is Passive House applicable based on the climate zone that the project is in. So basically, we have used this in we have successfully used this in New York Passive House projects, and New York is categorized to be in a cool and temperate climate zone. Next up is we have our AWS 90 SI window. This is basically used on punched opening applications. This is our most robust window in terms of thermal performance. Now, the 90 in its name talks about the depth of the frame. So in having a 90 millimeter deep frame, we were able to add more robustness to the thermal break in the middle. So basically, we were able to add a lot more foam, a lot more EPDM gaskets, and basically just add a larger and more robust isobars. Now, this is a certified Passive House component, and it's basically our go-to product when it comes to Passive House projects. Next up is we have our AWS 90 simulated double hung window. So with this system, we basically took our AWS 90 window and we converted it so that it simulates the look of a typical double hung window. Now, this system basically retains the operability and the performance of our 90 window. It basically just tries to achieve that staggered look that a typical double hung window has with the upper portion of the double hung and the lower portion. So as you see in this detail right here, we try to achieve that look by staggering the two IGUs. So the upper IGU with the bottom IGU. So we did that by simply adding a extension piece right here and minimizing the glazing bead right here on the interior. So yeah, it's basically us trying to simulate that staggered look that a double hung window has. Now, you might ask why we tried to do this. So basically, we tried to do this so that we can also bring passive house to older buildings. Now, one goal of passive house is not to only bring a new way of constructing new buildings, but also provides us with a way to improve how we preserve and restore older buildings or historic buildings as well. So I just want to give you a brief overview of the history that the double hung window has in the US. So the double hung window has been the most common type of window in the US since the 18th century all up to the 1980s. Now, the casement windows have actually predated the double hung window, but because the double hung window was able to provide larger sizes, it made it more popular at the time. Although in today's environment with our focus on climate change and environmental conservation, the industry basically moved back to the casement window, mainly due to the performance benefits that it has over the double hung. So when it comes to thermal performance, the casement window and double hung window don't actually have an advantage over each other, because you could basically make both windows with the same types of materials. However, when it comes to air infiltration, this is where the casement window wins all the time. And this is basically because of the nature of its mechanics. So a double hung window would seal all its gaps using brush seals, while casement windows would seal the gaps using gaskets. And whenever a casement window closes, you're able to have positive compression on those gaskets, which creates a much better seal against air infiltration and water infiltration. So right here, we have a rendering of a typical double hung window on the left side, and our simulated double hung window on the right side. So as you can see, we try to imitate the staggered look that the traditional double hung has on the IGUs here on our simulated double hung. And actually, one thing I should note on this rendering is that this is actually a rendering based off an older version of our simulated double hung. So the more updated version actually adds a exterior profile on the upper portion of the window right here, on the sash right here. This basically helps us further highlight that staggered look that the traditional double hung has. Next up is we want to present to you some projects that we've completed in the past and are actually currently working on right now. So first up is 511 East 86th Street, located in New York. For this project, we supplied the AWS 90 windows and the AWS 75 terrace door. Next is the house at Cornell Tech. For this project, we supplied the AWS 75 window. Now, a while ago, we presented to you the AWS 75 terrace door. Now, just like that terrace door, our 75 window is not passive house certified, although it was applicable to this project, mainly due to the climate zones and being able to hit the passive house targets for this project. Next up is we have the 211 West 29th Street, located in New York as well. We supplied the AWS 90 window and the AWS 75 terrace door for this project. This here is the West Don Ravine house. In this project, we supplied the AWS 90 window here, and we also supplied our FWS 50 curtain wall for this project. So that's basically this opening right here. Now, a while ago, I presented to you our FWS 60 curtain wall, which is passive house certified. The FWS 50 is not passive house certified, but again, it was applicable to this project. So I guess something to note with regards to passive house is that passive house does not require you to use passive house certified products. Although using passive house certified products makes the process a lot easier, especially when it comes to, first of all, making the targets that Passive House has, and verifying the performance and basically the performance of the products as well. So it basically streamlines the process and makes the process a lot easier if you use Passive House certified product. Next up is we have Cinderella Verde. This is an affordable housing project in Harlem, New York. We supplied here the AWS 90 window and again the AWS 75 terrace door. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much. I think we still have time right now for some questions. If not, our contacts are in the screen right now, and you could reach out to us anytime for any question. Thank you. So does anyone have any questions right now? Oh wait, I should turn on the chat that I can see your question. So Brian asked, do you have manufacturing in the US? Yes, we do. We have a factory based in Connecticut. Now, one thing I also want to note is that we do also have a wholesale business here in the US. So basically our business model is divided into two groups right now. So yes, we do, for certain projects based on the size or application, we can fabricate these windows here in the US in our factory in Connecticut, but for smaller projects we also could supply it through wholesale and ordering the parts from Germany.